big masked figure. It had horns. This is where my body gravitated.
Oh, this chick literally goes through the car as we drive through, like spiritually.
That man sitting on the bed the night before.
The blue light flashed in front of our eyes.
Take a walk with me to the dark side, where the spirits are archived on the far side. Shadows with dark eyes and creatures that tell lies.
And there was a rocking chair. And it would rock by itself.
It's got some funky shit going on in it.
Very scary. It felt like someone was watching us the entire time we were walking. I hear this low pitch.
Hello, my spookies, my creeps. It is spooky season. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ghosts. I am currently waiting on a ride, so I have a bunch of these Reddit stories, creepy stories that I thought I'd share with you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So let's get into this. This one is a photo, check it out, and it says, my brother taking selfies on our desktop webcam circa 2008. What is standing in the door behind him? Look at that, you guys. What do you see? What do you think? Definitely looks like a woman in a white t-shirt. That is spooky. That is a good one. I love seeing photos from like webcams and pictures from older cameras and stuff. They don't really show up as much as they used to back in the day. This next one is just a story. And it says, daughter asked about my deceased mother on the anniversary of her death. As the title suggests, my mother passed away 4 years ago today from the Big C. I'm so sorry. She met my eldest daughter, 6 years old, but not my youngest, 3 years old. We don't really talk about my mother much, only very occasionally when the topic of grandparents come up. Today, of all days, my youngest daughter turns to me and asks, why is your mom with Jesus? It caught me off guard and actually rocked my boat a bit. We haven't mentioned that today is the day. She hasn't been brought up in conversation for the last couple of months. It was very odd and has made my head swim a bit. I'm not sure why I'm posting it, but I felt the need to talk about it. You know, kind of crazy. I definitely believe that kids have more knowledge than we think they do. They can pick up things from here and there. It is kind of crazy that they brought it up on the anniversary. That's wild. It makes me wonder if they have had encounters with your mom's spirit, if they haven't gotten to meet your mom too. I wouldn't be too rattled about it. I'd be more sentimental, but I'm also way different when it comes to spirits. Next one is a photo, and it says, ghost behind kitchen cabinet. Has anyone ever seen this photo? I've always wondered if it's real. And the story says, I was going through my old photos. This was taken in West Nashville, October of 2020. My aunt was buying a children's kitchen set to a family in need. She was sent this from the seller and asked about the child behind the set. What do you guys think? That photo is wild. You can clearly see someone's face. Okay, maybe not clearly, but you can definitely see someone's face. And it almost reminds me of like double exposure. Then there is this one. Photobombing ghost in rural western Oregon. From the person who shared this photo. I took it in the summer of 2011 at my grandparents' place in rural western Oregon. The only people around were my friend, the mom of 2 of the girls in the shot, and my 7-year-old son, who didn't want to join them. I snapped a picture on an old iPhone, and here's where it gets strange. The girl on the top left wasn't actually there. We have no idea who she is. Neither of us noticed until days later when I finally texted the photo after we got service back in town. My friend immediately replied, "Who the heck is that?" Years later, my daughter, one of the girls in the picture, asked me about it, which made me bring it up again. It still gives me chills. For context, the girl closest to the camera is standing in the deepest part of the creek. When I first posted this on my personal page, some people suggested the unknown girl could have been a drowning victim. Maybe. My grandparents bought the land in the early 70s when there was nothing built on it. Their first house burned down just a couple of years later after a freak power surge, and they rebuilt on the same spot. My sister and I grew up there, a wonderful memory, yes, but also eerily similar nightmares about certain places on the property. That is wild. The two girls. So are two of them spirits? Because the 7-year-old son didn't want to join. The mom of the two girls in the shot and my 7-year-old who didn't want to join them. So there's 4 girls in this photo. Wow. So oh wow. I'm very curious as to which ones were actually supposed to be in the photo. That is wild. Alright, and then there's this one. I think there's a ghost in my house. What do I do? I've never posted on Reddit before, so I'm sorry if I do anything wrong. But anyways, okay, so to start, I moved into a house somewhere between 2020 and 2021, genuine guess. And I recall my mom saying this house was somewhere near 100 years old. My stepdad said that as he was working on the house, he felt he could feel they disliked what we were doing to the house. So the idea is that ghosts were here before we moved into the house. And every time we came to the house to work on it, it almost felt as if something was there. Moving forward, I can't remember in which order these happened, but I'll assume this one happened first. Allow me to explain what the hallway looked like. First, it was a somewhat long hallway, and to the left there was a door on the end leading to my mom's office, and a door on the wall next to it leading to my mom's room. Hopefully that makes sense, but let's continue now. Sometime after dark, I was walking down the hallway to my mom's room, and the office door was open. That's when I saw something that was insanely pale on its hands and knees, staring directly at me. It didn't have clothes or any features really, but its eyes, or rather lack of, were engraved into my mind. Literally just holes, nothing there, all black. I can't remember if it had a mouth or not, but it was genuinely horrifying. That would freak me out. Like, most of the spirits that I've seen have just been like past loved ones. I have seen some like demonic energies and stuff, but that has always been like during Reiki sessions, healing sessions. I haven't always felt very afraid, but this, to me, I would be a little creeped out. Like, what are you? What are you doing? And why are you here? That actually was not the end of the story. I have more. Okay, moving on to the next one. My brother told me this actually. At the time, our rooms were next to each other. I live upstairs now, and I was on my bed, doom scrolling like always, and my brother came into my room. He asked me if I had just been in his room, specifically his closet, and of course I replied, no, because I wasn't, and he responded, I just saw someone that looked like you, but paler, standing in my closet, and like, hello, does this mean there's a mimic in my house? And if so, why is it here? Why is it trying to mimic me? And is this bad? If so, how bad? In general, though, I usually cannot shake the feeling no matter what at around 3 to 5 a.m. Nothing can make it go away entirely, and I'm curious if this can help identify the spirit somehow, or just give me any form of information on it. I always feel like I'm being watched, and it's super worrying. I'm worried there might be some sort of bad spirit here or something similar. By the way, I have a carbon monoxide detector and it hasn't ever gone off, so I think that's ruled out. I also have a Ouija board in my room, but I've never used it, so IDK if that's important. I also don't know if this is important, but when I was really lit, I always mentioned paranormal things. I think she meant little. I always mention paranormal things. Like my brother told me that once I saw a green door and another door on the ceiling that I don't remember the color of. Also, one night when I was a toddler, I said to my mom, "Do you remember when I was sitting with the others and you picked me out? I don't know what any of this really means. Just felt it might be important." But, well, that's it. I just need some sort of, like, answers in a way. I don't really know what to do. I'm fine with ghosts being around, but they're genuinely starting to freak me out. That was creepy. So many different things, and I definitely think this girl is sensitive and has had multiple lives and is remembering past lives. As to the spirit, I don't think it's directly connected to her. It could be just something in the house that has manifested over time. It could have been something that they brought home. And quite honestly, Ouija boards, whether or not, I don't know if it was like brand new, never been used, or if just she has never used it. And if she has never used it, it could be like attachments to the board from previous users of the board. So there's that. Okay, so this one says, this is from our property in South Indiana, I'm gonna say. We know it's not a tree shadow. We have had a camera at this spot for over 15 years, first time ever seeing anything even close to the black blob. That is crazy, and it really is like a shadow, like kind of like a smoky, dark black shadow. That is crazy. I'd be like looking at the history of my property after that. Personal encounter experience in new house. My family just moved into a new area in a new house, and things have been happening that we can't explain. One of the things we've noticed happening in my room, it will open by its own door. There's no explanation for it either. The fan is not strong enough to do that, and no windows are open. The bathroom fans keep turning on its own. Just wondering if maybe there's actually something going on that we can't explain. My aunt was a medium too and always had strange things happen to her and knowing more than she should. I would ask your aunt. Like, I would bring your aunt over and be like, okay, so, like, what do you pick up in here? Do you see anything? What can we do? It just kind of sounds like you have a spirit trying to get your attention, or like previous residents that may not even know that they're gone, so they're just doing normal things. And then trying to get your attention and stuff. It doesn't sound or feel too spooky. Sounds like a house ghost. Get to know it, be friendly, coexist. That's what I would do. Alright, this one is a photo, and it was taken at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. I dream of going to this place. I would love to go. I hope with the new owners of it, in the remodel, I hope it's just as amazing. So the caption says, we went to the Stanley Hotel on a ghost tour. Tour guide told us to take as many photos as we could. My friend's dad took this photo, not edited. I have no clue what it is. I personally do not believe in ghosts, so I'd rather ask other people if it's just a glare or what they see as well. And if you see a face, body, or not, what is this actually? It looks like just a smoke film, but I feel like you would only get that if people were smoking in the building, which I highly doubt they allow people to smoke in there. But that's really what it reminds me of. And quite honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a spirit trying to manifest, because sometimes I see smoke and it's spirits. Like I'll see smoke above people or beside people, or I'll see it like drift through the house when there's nothing burning, nothing to be creating smoke. So I definitely think it's a spirit. Ooh, this one is a video, so I'll play the video after I read this. My friend lives in the Philippines. Last night at 11 p.m., her 16-year-old cousin sent her this video. He said he heard his dogs barking in the backyard and saw this creepy figure, so he started recording from inside the house. The video shows what he saw before he got so scared that he left and spent the night with my cousin. Both he and his friend witnessed the same thing. See, and this is crazy. Because it looks like a woman in a white, like, dress, kind of nightgown, like old school nightgown. You can see her, like, glowing eyes. That is wild. I heard 3 knocks. I opened the door, not sure if it's bad. Okay, so I was with my older cousin in our grandparents' spare room for a little sleepover. She was really drunk, and all of a sudden we heard 3 loud taps on the wall. It was a pretty moderate pace, and I didn't notice it until my cousin commented on it. After we both acknowledged it, we heard it again, this time more on the door. Me, being more protective and curious, got my pocket knife, extended it, and went outside the door to check. I checked behind the couch and everything near the wall, but nothing was there. It was upstairs, and they don't have any pets or anything, so it couldn't be that. All family members were asleep, and we didn't hear any footsteps. I want to know what this could mean, and if I'm in trouble because I opened the door. If the knock was coming from inside, I wouldn't think that you were letting anything in because it's already in. There is that tale that if you hear knocking at the door and there's nobody, that you're not supposed to open it because that is the spirit asking to come in. And you know, I grew up in a haunted house. If you guys go back to my first episode or second episode, I think I did in a whole episode about my grandma's house. And my grandma, we used to hear knocking on the front door all the time, or the front door would fly open. That's what it was. And my grandma would always be like, well, come right in then, you know, not knowing what we know now. You know, she was just a joke. The wind blew it open. You know, we all knew it was haunted, but she was just joking around and would be like, well, come on in then. And that house was severely haunted. I died and woke up in a different universe, maybe? The night before my wife left the stove on. The night before my wife left the stove on because it was a cold night. That morning when I woke up, something didn't feel quite right. It felt like a dream when I woke up. I remember having made a bank transaction the day before, and when I checked in the morning, that transaction was no longer there. At work, someone said something to me that was not quite right, and everything just seemed so slow and quiet around me. That is strange. I would be like, the purchase you made, like, what was it? Did you go out to eat or something that you don't have, like, physical evidence of? That is insane. I would be looking for, like, whatever item I purchased to see if I still had it. Or maybe I would be like, okay, maybe my dreams are getting so realistic. I can't tell the difference between what's real and what's dream. That's happened to me. Or maybe you had a glitch in the matrix, or you did wake up in a different universe. What do you guys think? And that is it, you guys. That is all I have saved for today. I do have more stuff saved from you guys that you have sent to me, so I'm excited to get to reading those. As to my health, you guys, I am feeling so much better. I'm so happy and so relieved. So whoever's sending me good juju and healing vibes, thank you. Keep sending them my way because my progress is going very smooth and very quick. I love it. Thanks again for watching. Drop me a ghost emoji down below if you made it to this point. And don't forget that I have merch. I'll drop the link in the comments. And go check out my merch. I have some stuff with ghosts on it. I have the Let's Talk Ghosts logo on shirts. I have Sun Reiki. Go check it out. Get yourself some. Send me pictures. Maybe I'll advertise it. All right, guys, keep it creepy. Till next time. Bye.